Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Our old friend is here.
What's happening? Internalist.
CBS Radio.
Coming on next after the mentalist.
Host of Mojo.
The internalist. He'll get all up in that thing.
Brian Jones. Now, the internalist, do you think that sounds like a good show that Mike could star in?
Nah. And you give up on that weather, too. Apparently, you didn't go to geography class.
No.
Wisconsin is not the Great Plains.
He was doing it for a while, and he didn't know where Texas was when he first started.
He didn't know Texas.
What?
No.
How you not know what the biggest state in the union that's
I can back up.
connected to the union?
I could show you guys where Texas is right now.
Well,
Yeah, but that's because we told you.
you
We did not.
learned.
How did you not know?
He
What
didn't
is
know.
wrong with you,
We're
man?
not lying. He didn't know where Texas was.
No, I knew what Texas was. These guys are trying to egg it up, Brian. They're like,
I think we have video
Don't
proof
hate.
that you didn't.
Yeah, it's on tape, Mike.
Brian, they're trying to egg you up to get all ticked off of me. I know what Texas is.
Egg you up.
You can, yeah, what is it?
You don't know where Texas is.
Egg you up,
You
or-
didn't know where Texas was,
In
Mike.
Texas, we say egg you on.
Yeah.
We don't say egg you
Well,
up.
everyone else in the world says egg you on,
Yeah.
except for Mike.
You can make me some egg. Can I get an omelet?
He's in the
Cook
kitchen.
sauce.
Hey.
Western omelet.
Brian, how did you feel? We listened to the call from Rod from Bayside where
And we don't put him up to do that.
he played your voice.
Oh, that was hilarious.
But how did your partner not know that?
I know. He started answering him. It was hilarious.
It was like he
What
did
did
it for
you
8
do?
minutes.
What did you do? You didn't stop him?
I don't listen to my own show.
Can
so
we replay it? Let's
Did
hear
you
let's-
know that
listen
it
to
was
this.
you?
At the end, the last thing he said, like,
Well, listen to
he
this.
stole my line.
Listen to
Hey,
this.
sticking to it. Let's go to Brian in New York City. Hi, Brian. Welcome to CBS Sports Radio.
What's up, buddy?
It's all good. Where'd you go?
I'm talking about this Ursula comment. I read it totally different than all these people were freaking out. You know, he basically said, I'm disappointed. The guy was here 14 years. We only won one Super Bowl. He wasn't blaming that on Peyton Manning.
No, I think he was blaming what we talked about a lot
He didn't
and what
listen
will
to
be
the show
talked about
either.
a
He
lot,
didn't
and
know
that
my
is
voice.
if you're going to pay a guy this much money and it's a cap league, then you have to win if you're going to expend that kind of money. Otherwise, let somebody else spend that kind of money, and we're starting over with someone we don't have to pay that much.
I'm happier than a warden in a women's prison with a fistful of parts.
Jones likes that.
He stole it from me.
I know he did. I know he did. I know
It
that
sounded like me.
did sound like you. Maybe-
I don't know what just happened, but that was you.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I have no idea what
So
happened,
I
but that
thought it
was
was our
you.
producer.
But I love when.
don't know.
What's your partner's name?
That was 100%
Chris Moore.
Brian Jones'
Okay, Chris.
voice.
Listen to when he gets mad here.
What are you doing? Are you mixing and scratching?
I have no idea what just happened.
Okay.
He has no idea what just happened.
Whatever.
Yeah, Chris starts saying, "You'll go on the show, and I'll be made fun of."
Yeah.
Chris, not for nothing, but I mean, my God. It is odd, though.
Oh,
Now, what do you do?
strange.
But it's great. This proves you do zone out while he talks.
I do, and it's proof that he zones out my partner, Chris Moore, because we've been doing the show for a year now, and he didn't even recognize my voice.
Isn't radio hard? It is very difficult because it's nightly or daily or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Radio is, you got to concentrate, man. And you see, you're a good broadcaster and you know the game so well, you do feel like, well, I could do this on the fly, you know, and you can.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You can, you know.
That's it. Oh, Chris was breaking down the answer and everything.
You know what's
so
funny?
funny.
You guys have a good radio show, even whether he does it with you or a tape of you.
Yeah. So I'm going to tape it and send it in.
I think it's compelling.
That's what I have to say tonight.
It's compelling.
Yeah.
Well, tell Chris so we wish him the best. No
will.
hard feelings. And Rod tells you, oh, you already put me up there. Yeah, right, Rod. Get my ass kicked, you jerk off. Sending Brian to your house. He's going to bang your wife, and then he's going to beat you up. How's that sound?
What's she look like?
Oh, she's hot, man.
Oh, really?
She's smoking hot.
You
She
really smoking
really,
hot.
she really is, Brian.
I'm a wrapper in some of that funky cheese over there.
That's hilarious. Okay, so let's get down to it. What the hell happened Sunday?
What?
I was at the game. I was at the
Did
game.
you go? I was in Seattle.
Oh, no, were you
I
really?
went cross country. I wanted to get out of this.
Did you
madness.
watch it in public with the
I
folks?
watched it in public. I have a cousin that lives there, and I'm a big fan of Seattle. It's one of the greatest cities in the world.
I've been there about 5 or 6
Love
times to do
Seattle.
stand-up, and I do love it.
Yeah,
It's
when I was
great.
in college, my cousin and another good friend, they played at UW, University of Washington. So I used to go up there all the time.
Awesome city.
Oh,
yeah.
it's a fantastic city. So I said, hey, it's a good time to go. So I'll tell you what happened. Denver was just overwhelmed. They hadn't seen anything like that all season
Unbelievable.
long.
They just got destroyed.
Hadn't played any defense as physical as Seattle.
Right.
Any defense as long and athletic and fast as Seattle. I mean, the disparity in speed, it was just amazing.
Is that true? Like, what does that say about the Broncos' schedule? They
Well,
really
it just
didn't
shows that they didn't. It just shows that there's, you're here, and then there's someone that's
and
actually
their
here.
division's not that great, then I guess.
No,
Yeah.
and as a lot of the Seahawks players said, the Super Bowl was actually an NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
because they take on San Francisco as a physical football team, even Arizona now.
Well,
the NFC West is just stacked.
That's what John.
Arizona
That's
beat
John. You know,
them.
to your credit,
Yeah.
John. You did say that early on that the
Yeah.
Super Bowl was the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
But I've liked this Seattle team all along, and Russell Wilson does not get enough credit. The
Yeah,
guy
man.
doesn't make mistakes.
He looked good.
He threw some darts in that ball game.
At
I don't care if the
23
game was out
years
of,
old.
he
out of
did.
hand. He threw
did.
some beautiful
Well, that's
passes.
the difference too. I mean, when he had to get some oomph behind it and
Oh.
thread it in there. I mean, he was throwing heat.
The
When it counted.
the catch-
Meanwhile, Peyton.
Well,
Wobble,
you know
bobble,
how
bobble.
you defeat Peyton, you get in his face, you make him uncomfortable. They only
Yeah.
sacked him once, but they harassed him all night
you know
long.
what you're talking
3-man
about.
rush, 4-man rush. Sometimes they would blitz. They had a great balance.
But if
and
they
I'll tell you
blitz,
one other.
if they blitzed, it was like a single backer
Yeah,
dog.
but exactly. They didn't bring the house, but the secondary is so smart. One play in particular where Cam Chancellor's carrying the seam, he's carrying the route up the field. And then Welker's coming across the field, and he comes off of that and just knocks the hell out of Welker. They didn't give them any room to operate in. And, Denver moved the ball at certain times, but then they forced turnovers, did Seattle. But they are so smart in that secondary.
Yeah.
They
They're
were
so
smart,
physical.
and we got to take a break, but we'll come back because you guys are making great points. But I tell you what, if you tell me about Peyton, and I love Peyton, but if you tell me that Peyton Manning, the way to beat him is to rattle him, that doesn't put him up with the greats to me. I mean,
And no one could have played in that environment the other night.
yeah, but
other than
Montana never
Kaepernick.
got rattled. Well, you
Well, he
know.
didn't face this defense, but Kaepernick, that's why he
Facing
runs for
tough defense.
130 yards. You gotta be a dual threat quarterback to beat a defense like that.
Yeah.
You have to extend plays. That's why Russell Wilson was so good.
No, he did. He extending plays is exactly what he did. We got to take a break, and we'll come back with Brian after that. Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Great Brian Jones is here, and you said he interviewed Bruce Smith, and Bruce Smith told Brian that this is shocking to me. Only 3% of the people in the NFL play in the Super Bowl. 3%.
Only 3% of the people that have played got a chance to play in the Super Bowl.
Wow, that is low. I know
Yeah.
there's teams that become dynasties and dominate, so that lowers it. But that did you think it would be that low, John? Do you think
No.
that's wow?
I feel lucky having two teams that went
Yeah.
in 7 years. That's pretty amazing. But when I was an unrestricted free agent after Oakland, I knew that I wanted to go. I was just coming off a Super Bowl. I knew I wanted to go to a team that had a
Of
great
course.
shot.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
that
and
makes
so-
sense. Yeah, a
so
lot
I
of great
think-
players do that.
And that's what's going to happen, dude. That's what's going to happen with Seattle. Think about the fact that last offseason, when they lost to Atlanta last postseason,
Right.
Pete Carroll said, we need to get better pass rush. So what'd they do this year? They went out and they signed Michael Bennett to a 1-year deal for $5 million.
Got Cliff Averill.
They went out and got
Lions.
Cliff Averill for a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
Really short deals, for guys who they're like assassins.
Yeah.
Just
didn't break
paid-
their cap. The reason they didn't
Hired
break their cap,
guns.
they've got
hired guns, exactly.
excellent young quarterback, and they're not paying him a ton
Yeah.
right now. I mean,
Right.
eventually,
$500,000.
Yeah, eventually they're going to have to address that.
Right.
And Richard Sherman made
But-
$500,000.
Yeah, but you already have players like Golden Tate said the other day, hey, I'll take a pay cut to stay here. It's
Yeah.
a great
Smart
organization.
move,
great,
man.
Of
Because you make
course.
a lot of money doing other stuff.
That's
And the grass is
what
not
they will
always
get.
greener on the other side. And the average age of on that roster is like 26.
Right.
They're so
Incredible.
young.
Right.
And how about I think
Fourth
they're-
youngest team
Yeah.
to ever win the Super Bowl.
And there was
Something
only
like that.
like couple of first-round picks on that defense.
Yeah.
A couple. Earl Thomas and he was the only one to start.
Chancellor,
the other one, Bruce
number one
Irvin.
pick? Chancellor?
No, Chancellor was like
Wow.
the fifth rounder. They had a ton of fifth
Right.
rounders, undrafted guys. Wagner,
Bobby Wagner was
linebackers,
second.
round.
Yeah.
So they've got a ton of young guys.
It was
who were
fun being at the game.
Sherman, what was he? A fifth
5.
rounder.
Was he really?
Yeah.
It was fun being at the game live.
It was extremely loud.
to see that loud, but to hear Chancellor's hit on Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Early on.
Yeah.
Like you heard that, man. Like
Yeah.
boom, pop. It was like, and they were there. I mean, they were there to play. They came out gunning. And so, what does that say now about their future to make this a dynasty? Can they re-sign these one-year guys?
Yeah, I think they can, but it's going to be difficult. I'm telling you, they play in the toughest division in the NFL, and you've got San Francisco over there that knows them well. You've got Arizona that beat them up there in Central League.
San Francisco's going to be a good for that's going to be a great rivalry.
Oh yeah,
Kaepernick and Wilson.
Well, it's going to be
if they could keep in that division. That's going to be a great.
It's going to be
rivalry.
like the early '90s with the 49ers and the Cowboys.
Yeah. You know, right, exactly.
It's going to be one of those teams. It's going to be them in the NFC Championship game more often than not.
Remember how mad Jerry Rice was when Deion went over to San Francisco? I mean, when he went over to
the
Dallas.
Cowboys,
when he went over to the Cowboys, Jerry Rice was mad. I remember getting interviewed after Deion and the Cowboys beat him in the playoffs the next year, and Rice was like, he did something rare. He lost.
Who cares?
Cool. He's like, I don't want to. He got mad.
Yeah.
I'm still mad about Dwight Clark catching that pass in the back of the end zone against my Cowboys. So what?
The catch.
Yeah, the
now,
catch.
how old were you?
I don't know. What year was that? 80? 81?
81.
What was I? Maybe 12, 11, somewhere
You're
around
a young
there.
Cowboy fan in Lubbock?
Oh, man, in Lubbock, Texas, L.A., Lubbock area. What's happening?
Had your Buddy Holly poster up in your...
No. Only one white man poster up
Burt
in Grandma's
Reynolds.
house.
Jackie Gleason?
Yeah, White Lightning.
White man.
Gator.
Let me guess the white man, Kennedy.
Kennedy, exactly.
I know. He was a friend.
There you go. Kennedy, and you
Friend
had
of the black man.
MLK. Then you had that blonde-haired Jesus. I told my grandma he was a Negro. They had a tan over there. It was hot.
Well, it makes sense that he probably looked more like a Middle Eastern guy.
Right. Give him a tan.
Yeah.
Come on.
He was probably like a guy you see working at one of the newspaper stands.
Well, okay, or cooking my food on the street. You know,
Let
street
me
meat.
tell you something right now.
Halal food.
Halal food, exactly.
Yeah.
Do not steal. Let me tell you. Would you like a pornographic magazine or the 10 Commandments?
Yeah, show cran.
Would you like an issue of Torso? Latin inches, or would you like to be saved? Yeah, that makes total sense. So, so we got the Super Bowl out of the way.
Yep.
I don't know. I'd like to see a dynasty in Seattle. I think that would be fun.
Well, I think they're going to
somehow
continue. You know, it's one reason the Jets went and got Izzik, their new GM, a year ago, because he, understudy of Schneider there, John Schneider, and the way they built that team, and Pete Carroll, the way he's been able to identify talent and get guys who are, third and fourth and fifth round. And these guys contribute. These backups.
Oh, no, they're no joke, man.
Right.
Yeah,
they're flying
they all
around.
play. Yeah.
They've got a ton of talent.
They rotate guys
and they
through,
believe
so
in
they're
them.
always fresh.
They're always fresh. They believe in them. And so everyone's going to try to model that, but I don't know if it's duplicatable.
No, I don't. Yeah, it's something special.
Yeah, I mean, these are special players.
And
they like
everyone's
playing
got the X's and O's, but it's about the Jimmies and the Joes.
They like
it's not
playing for
just
Carroll, too. Maybe
well, that's the
that'll-
thing.
yeah.
It's not just Pete Carroll being a smart defensive mind. It's his ability to motivate guys.
Yes.
And his ability to talk to guys and make them want to come there. Experience as a college recruiter, I think, helps him in the NFL. And I think that's something that other coaches overlook.
We got to take a break. I'm glad you're here, though, because when we come back, we'll have a little time. We'll break early here. I just saw the Lawrence Taylor documentary on Showtime.
Oh, yeah.
I want to ask you a couple of things about that. Back after
I'm going to plead the fifth.
Welcome back to the Artie Lange Show. Brian Jones is here. So I watched the Lawrence Taylor documentary on Showtime. Great job, man. Showtime is getting up there with HBO with doing great documentaries. But
that was like watching The Wolf on Wall Street, wasn't it?
Okay, guys, so you both are the NFL. Lawrence Taylor claimed that he would pay a ball boy to lay in bed to beat the curfew. He would pay a ball boy $20 to lay in bed all night so they check on him. Apparently, there was a ball boy on the Giants who looked like Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
It was cheaper to do that than make a mask like Escape from Alcatraz, like Clint Eastwood did.
I was going to say, well, of course, you get that reference. Of all people. No, but did that happen?
We had guys who broke curfew and got caught.
But I mean,
I don't think they tried to. I had heard of guys arranging pillows, turning the lights out, arranging
the 85,
pillows.
86 Bears did that. Did pillows. I was at Platteville.
Yeah, but what about the going to the point where you pay a guy to lay there in bed? I mean, did Lawrence Taylor have a roommate that had to look the other way? Or
well, it depends. It depends team to team. Different rules for hotel rooms. When certain places like in Oakland, you could buy out the other half of the room so that you had your own room.
Right.
When I was in Philly, once you got to 8 years, all those players were able to have.
So they had their own room.
Yeah. So he could have been on his own.
And wait, you were at Platteville. Then there's nothing to do in Platteville. We used to go to Platteville and scrimmage the Bears. Why were they sneaking out of there? To go where?
I don't know. Maybe
there was a
go.
little town around there, but I remember Hampton and McMichael didn't even do that. They would go over to Ditka's room. They would knock on the door, wake him up. Ditka would be with no shirt on and just and give him the $500 fine. And Hampton would go, "We're going out."
Yeah.
And then they would just walk
There you
away.
go. As long as you perform.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you perform, Lawrence Taylor was performing. That was the problem. He interviewed Belichick, and he's like, "What can I do?" The guy was the greatest ever. Parcells. The other thing that was funny, funny in a tragic kind of way, the first time he got suspended for having cocaine in his system or drugs, it wasn't even his urine.
Right.
He bought
How
the
about
wrong guy's
that?
urine.
Yeah. The guy he was paying to take the
Was dirty.
test
Was dirty.
Was dirty.
He
How
goes-
about that?
He goes, "They took my urine at that time. I'd still be suspended."
See, he was supposed to get caught.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy whose urine you're utilizing,
That's
it's
hilarious.
dirty.
He bought dirty urine. That would make me mad as a
yeah.
guy. If you buy dirty,
Yeah.
like, dude, the one thing I need from you is to be clean. I mean, that's why I'm buying it. I mean, speak to how he revolutionized football.
Oh, it was tremendous. I mean, I remember watching him in college. He came to Lubbock, North Carolina. His team and famous Amos Lawrence at running back. They came to Lubbock, played Texas Tech, and we sat there in the grass seats watching them. And he just put on a show. He was just in tremendous speed, edge rusher, and power. And he could play the run. It wasn't like he was a one-trick pony where I could just get out the quarterback.
And he
could
rushed
hold
the
it in.
quarterback so how did he change the game then, Brian?
Well, I mean, he was one of those guys where you then had to compensate for him no matter where he was lined up, and especially you had to protect that quarterback's backside. It wasn't like you didn't have to do that before, but not as, I would say, intently as you had to do once he entered the league. He was just a phenomenal, ferocious rusher, so you had to make sure if you were going to win a ball game, you had to account for him. And I don't think ever I just don't recall growing up there being as dominant player like an LT where you had to make sure where you knew where he was at all time on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, yeah, you go in there in the game plan for a team and you say, okay, this is the guy we can't allow to beat us, whether it's a running back, wide receiver. But on the defensive side, I don't know if there's that guy like that.
I don't
until he came around.
I think he started something where just because he was so gifted, he was able to take angles. He was able to put his body in positions that no one else had ever been able to do.
Right.
Take angles to the quarterback, have his body on an angle as he's rushing the
Nice
quarterback,
lean.
being lower
Which
and
is,
more, just angular.
Which is what he did when he broke Theismann's leg.
Him.
Yeah.
That angle you're talking about, when he broke Theismann's leg, that's exactly how he was. He was like at a different
It's
angle.
kind of like the drafting at Daytona. You go in those turns and they're about 30 degrees.
Yeah, banking
On there. That's how low he would get. And all these offensive tackles that came and played during his era and are even playing now, they should thank him because he not only did he revolutionize the outside linebacker position, but also the left tackle position.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the NFL level.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Brian, thanks as always.
You got it.
The great Brian Jones.
I'm gonna go
the
see my
show's
internalist.
Mojo on CBS Sports.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.